institution, wouldn't that help the economy of Yemen?
You know, I had a student who prepared a master thesis entitled Oil, a Blessing or a Curse? Is it a blessing? Yes, it's a blessing if people benefit. It's a curse because it gives room to a lot of war, as I have explained. And also the key question, where is the money going? If it's going, Yemen already has some resources. I know it lacks drastically resources, but the problem is what is the fate of such national resources? If really it's devoted to people, they would benefit. Otherwise, they won't benefit. So
it seems like the Lebanese issue all over again in Yemen as well.
The Lebanese issue is a very good example.
Well, Ms. Jarhum, now there have been many concerns regarding the introduction of a state comprising federal regions in light of social disparities and existing divisions. Now, this has led some to believe that the division of the country into federal regions is merely a first step in the process of partition, and at the best will lead to a struggle of a new type over resources and wealth. Now, what is your comment on these concerns?
I think the federal system was introduced as part of the National Dialogue Conference outputs as a resolution for Yemen's problems, especially the South issue. There was disagreement about how many regions, what type of federal system. This is going to, the regions has been resolved and they were announced 6 regions. The type of federal system is going to be discussed further through the constitution. There was a constitution committee, the new constitution committee was formed, and they are supposed to be working on the new constitution. Unfortunately, just a few days ago, the head of that committee was targeted. Luckily, he escaped an assassination attempt. I think, regardless of our issue, is not only the federal system. As Doctor said, our biggest issue is corruption. Even if we divide it, even if Yemen is rich in natural resources. If not natural resources, it has its own human capital. It can build on it. It depends on the region. I think that corruption is our main problem, and unfortunately there isn't any serious steps taken to combat it.
Well, Dr. Labaki, before we take our second break, do you think actually that comprising federal regions in Yemen will be a solution to the Yemeni problem, or part of a solution to the Yemeni problem?
Look, I am professor of constitutional law. Either you play it straightforward, or if you have another hidden agenda, things will not work. Let me take those 6 states. It was the northern version of federalism. First observation, the Houthi region was divided between 4 states. So they lose political power, and they will be unable to control none of them. 2, the south also was divided into 2 regions, one rich in oil, depriving the other from resources. So there are economic differences. It was done hastily and very rapidly and quickly. And concerned people did not have a say, and it was not approved by a referendum. So if it was really played straightforward, it would have worked. But now it will not work.
Well, we will continue actually talking about that matter as well, but we have to take our second break for tonight. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Time. Variable. Events. The only constant variable in life is change. Broader perspective. Arguments and counter-arguments on our platform.
Global Insights. The globe on our platform.
Welcome back to the Middle East Stream. We are here with Dr. George Labaki and Ms. Rasha Jarhum. Dr. Labaki, President Abdrabbu Mansour Hadi suggested splitting Yemen into 6 federal areas. What are the grounds upon which the division into 6 regions was based, first of all, and why was the proposal for a 2-region system, which was supported by the Socialist Party, not adopted? I mean, did the latter proposal really pave the way for the separation of the South, or as its opponents has claimed so far?
No, constitutionally, a country like Yemen would gain from becoming a federal state. But if it was done, as I said, in the right way and properly. What was done, it was dividing between the rich and the poor. Some states would be very rich, having oil and gas, others nothing. 2, the economic dimension is totally absent. So you should, in a federal system, you should put a lot of importance on finding resources. Agriculture, industrial, you have to share the wealth. You cannot have one rich state and a very poor one, side by side. 3, again, South people wanted one united South at least. But it was split into, as I explained, because to weaken the two, basically, to put it in one word. Concerning the Houthi also, it was meant to stop their advance, and it has divided the major areas where they live and split them into 4 different states. So, in many areas, culturally, you have too much cultural and social differences. So you have people belonging, we said it's a tribal system, culturally to this part of the population. They were taken and put in another state where they don't relate to, and the contrary. So it can't work. Also, it was not approved by referendum. It was done very quickly and hastily.
Well, how do you suggest then such a federal system might be put on Yemen?
First of all, let me take the first federal system in the world, which is the United States.
States of America, true.
The United States, they were at the beginning 13 states on the East Coast. They met and they agreed. They recognized the borders of each other, and they agreed to build a federal state. So it has to start from a popular approval. You take a part of the population, culturally and socially homogeneous, you take their approval by referendum, and you can build on that. The second point is the economic one. I think they had previously a decentralized experience at the local level, municipal level in Yemen, and it did not work. It turned to the advantage of the central government, because taxation and money was going to the central government, not to the different regions. So the financial aspect of decentralization is as or more important than the administration's subdivisions. So if you don't follow these 2 rules, it will not work, be it in Yemen or anywhere else.
Exactly. Ms. Jarhum, there's a danger that the Yemeni confrontations will turn into a long-term sectarian and factional conflict similar to that of Iraq. Will there be a way to bypass this phase, or at this point it is actually inevitable? Ms. Jarhum?
Yes, yes.
Are you?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hello?
Okay, I'm going to repeat my question. It seems that you didn't hear it. Well, I was saying that there is a danger that Yemeni population and country is actually confronting right now, is that it might actually turn into a sectarian and factional conflict similar to that of the Iraqi state. Will there be a way to bypass this phase, or is it inevitable for Yemen to pass through this phase?
I believe that the sectarian conflict that has been now doing was fueled through political interference. It's not genuine, because Yemen coexisted and had different sects since decades. So it is fueled through political certain parties, and I think it is a strategy that is bound to fail in the long term. And I believe I have confidence in the Yemeni people that they will set aside differences and that they will work together to stabilize Yemen.
Well, Dr. Labaki, if the Yemeni government is set to fail in stopping possible increase in sectarian violence and the increase in al-Qaeda assaults on the security system in Yemen and on the military system as well, why not just cooperate with Washington on the file specifically concerning the drone attacks? Why don't they work together to put a certain strategy for the drone attacks against the real spots of danger for al-Qaeda or other terrorist groups in Yemen and get over with this matter?
Well, they are, first of all, and they are getting, as I said, millions of dollars of aid. And Americans, I think, I suspect, have a free hand in carrying on their drone attacks. Now, the major problems of Yemen are, first, the weakness of the central government, the tribal system, the Houthi problem, and also the South issue. I think the first two, or at least the last two, let's say, the Houthi issue and the South issue are more dangerous than the al-Qaeda issue. Because these two, they might threaten the integrity of the territory, while al-Qaeda so far has been unable to endanger the integrity of the Yemeni territory. Basically, in a way, the al-Qaeda fight is first directed against Saudi Arabia and the United States. I'm not saying it's not dangerous, or on the long run it might threaten.
But since al-Qaeda is threatening a lot the Saudi kingdom, why don't they offer certain help for the Yemenis, military help, I'm saying there? I mean, they were very fast in sending their troops into Bahrain for a certain popular uprising that didn't even have a weapon in the hands of the public. But in Yemen, there is certain threat, there's a serious threat towards the Saudi kingdom coming from the al-Qaeda. Why not just jump there and help?
Well, I think they are, but this has to do with what has been done since the Afghan war against the Soviet Union. As you know, the Arab Afghans, as referred to, came back to their countries and started their quest for power. And you agree with me that all the jihadists sent to Syria are going back home. The same error has been committed twice in less than 20 years. And we can expect a lot of destabilizing movement in the future. When these countries were told that they should not play that game of supporting fundamentalists, they wouldn't listen. Also, don't forget that bin Laden also was Yemeni by origin. So I think the fatal error done mainly by the Gulf states, most of them, was to support and finance jihadists. These people are going back home very well trained with a very clear agenda of what they intend to do. Well,
Mr. Jarhum, in light of the current situation, how do you assess Saudi Arabia's role in standing by President Abdullah Mansour Hadi and pointing fingers at Iran, which might refuel internal sectarian turmoil instead of actually giving the necessary aid in order to overcome the economic, political and security challenges inside the country?
For Saudi Arabia, we don't only share a border of 1,500, we have more common grounds. We share the same security concerns.